It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. We'll take your emails as well, randykabc@gmail.com. That's randykabc@gmail.com. Today, we will be talking about the LA County Board of Supervisors, which currently is composed of Catherine Barger,
quite frankly,
Hilda Solis,
quite frankly,
Holly Mitchell,
quite frankly,
Lindsday Horvath,
quite frankly,
and Janice Hahn.
That's your final warning.
She's never said quite frankly. Someday she will, and then I'll have a whole set, and then I will be happy. These are the most powerful politicians in the state of California. They get paid more than almost every other politician in the state of California. They have bigger budgets than most of the other members of the state of California because these 5 women control the budgets that represent 10 million people. So each of them represents 2 million people. So the acts that the Board of Supervisors makes are pretty huge. They affect a whole lot of people. And most of the acts that this board has done over the years have affected a whole lot of people in the wrong way, with trying to close Men's Central Jail without an alternative, all the money they've spent on the homeless problem while decreasing the number by, I believe, year over year, 2023 to 2024, it was 200 people. Doing a heck of a job there, Holly. Love you. This Board of Supervisors wants to change the way the game is played in Los Angeles County. They want to change the way the board is made up. They want to change who the board is accountable to. We'll get to all of that. But first, since we're on the Board of Supervisors, I have to play you this clip that I just listened to from Holly Mitchell getting interviewed on public access. Because yes, these are the interviews only I have the patience to listen to. Either that or I'm just a giant dork for this stuff. But I subscribe to LA City View 35, which is the YouTube channel for the Los Angeles Public Access Channel 35, which carries the LA City Council meetings, will occasionally post press conferences, which you know how much I love a presser, and will post these interviews done in-house that they've been doing forever in a program called LA Currents. And in fact, the first time I ever caught on to it was during the pandemic when Garcetti was the guest of honor, and he talked about what a great pianist he is. I'm not going to say that again because I might say it wrongly and then I'll get in trouble. But Holly Mitchell was the guest of honor on LA Currents, and she was talking about all her successes in getting rid of all the RVs that are plaguing her encampments, where she did drop something fascinating. She said the majority of RVs in the county of Los Angeles are all focused in our unincorporated areas. In fact, the unincorporated area that Holly Mitchell represents in the Gardena area happens to have the biggest concentration of RVs. Isn't that interesting? Because if you know anything about how local politics works, the Board of Supervisors is the direct mayor for those municipalities. They don't have a city. They don't have a city council. They don't have a mayor. So the person in charge of their well-being is the supervisors, and some of those areas are the worst ever because nobody wants to take the blame for anything. But let me play you what Holly Mitchell had to say about the RV encampments because it's interesting. Here we go. This was on LA Currents on LA City View 35. No one else is going to play you this content because they have better sense.
Well, we've done a couple things in this motion. A good number of these RVs have been dismantled.
Oh, okay.
So our goal was to take them out of this kind of a loop feeder system.
That's right. Crush them into cubes.
Where they go to auction, people we call van lords bid on them, buy them, and then drop them in the street. What we found is sometimes you see the RVs on fire, they've been burned out, and people assume that those were the unhoused people setting them on fire. What we have found is that's a strategy used by the van lords against people who haven't paid rent.
Seriously?
Tragically, so many people who live in these RVs.
Wait a second. What was that, Holly Mitchell?
You have to be mindful of that.
So we see a lot of torched out RVs in Los Angeles County. We've seen them in Venice. We've seen them in that area that nobody wants to take credit for near the 105 and the 110. We've seen them in Holly Mitchell's district. We've seen them in Lindsday Horvath's district. So you're telling me that the vast majority of burned out RVs are the van lords who are trying to collect rent from the people that are paying rent to the van lords, and when they don't pay, they set the RV on fire? Let me hear that again.
You know, what we found is sometimes you see the RVs on fire, they've been burned out, and people assume that those were the unhoused people setting them on fire. What we have found is that's a strategy used by the van lords.
If that's true, and maybe it is, but then shouldn't we have a real easy case to arrest these van lords for not only the unscrupulous business practices of leasing out RVs to homeless people and parking them wherever they feel like it, but also arson? Also trying to light somebody on fire? I feel like I would like to know a little more about that story. But this is the government that we have. But the government that we have in Los Angeles County might drastically change if you decide to this November. What are we talking about? Well, earlier last week, right before everyone went on the big holiday, Lindsday Horvath, who is the supervisor for the West Side, this is her,
quite frankly,
and Janice Hahn,
That's your final warning.
who is the supervisor for the South Bay and for Long Beach, they voted and put forth something that may be appearing on the November ballot. And if the voters choose to, they can change the way that LA County is governed. Right now, we have 5 members of the Board of Supervisors. How about 9? And how about they also have a CEO like a mayor of Los Angeles County? Well, is this going to improve governance in Los Angeles County? A very corrupt county, a very inefficient county, a county where you feel like you get very little services for your tax dollars. I should know. I know what I pay. I know what I see. And just having been to Northern California in little towns like Carmel, where the city is run perfectly, and I'm actively figuring out ways to leave this godforsaken city and move up there because it is actual paradise. Or even, you know what? I got to tell you, I think San Francisco, as a city, as a county, is better run than Los Angeles right now. And I'll tell you one very, very, very specific sticking point. I saw employees of the city at random times throughout the day picking up trash. That is something I do not see in LA City. I do not see in LA County. I see piles of garbage sitting out and rotting for a very long time. But maybe, just maybe, the way to improve Los Angeles County is to have even more supervisors. Or at least that's what Janice Hahn and Lindsday Horvath would like you to think. But don't just take my word for it. Let's take their word for it, because Horvath and Hahn went on with Conan Nolan on this Sunday's news conference on NBC4. Let's hear their pitch for why you should vote yes in November to expand the LA County Board of Supervisors from 5 people to 9.
So it has been tried before, but failed in the past. That is the effort to expand the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors. They used to be called the 5 Kings. Now they're 5 females, maybe the 5 Queens. But this body now wants to eliminate some of their own power in order to expand representation in what is the nation's largest county by population.
So if Lindsday Horvath was only in charge of about 1 million people, then she'd answer the complaints of people in Santa Monica who are sick and tired of the fact that Barbara Ferrer is passing out needles in meth pipes? Yeah, I don't think so.
Joining us from the Civic Center downtown is Supervisor Lindsday Horvath. She represents District 3, which is West San Fernando Valley, West LA, Santa Monica, West Hollywood, and Supervisor Janice Hahn, District 4, which includes San Pedro, parts of West Los Angeles, and Long Beach.
You know what's so funny? The LA City Clerk YouTube channel, which is where I get all the live LA City Council meetings, for some reason, and maybe they have to for public records, they keep posting meetings from like 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And what do you know? If you see a video clip from an LA City Council meeting in 2002, who was there? Janice Hahn. Term limits. They didn't actually make anybody leave government. They just keep rotating into different jobs.
That's your final warning.
Janice went from LA City Council to Congress, into the Board of Supervisors, where now she's on her final term.
Supervisor Hahn, you have seniority.
Well, once she wins in November, which she will.
Supervisor Hahn, you have seniority, but Supervisor Horvath is the chair, so
No, wait, she already did win because she won outright in the primary. Good to know.
Supervisor Hahn, you have seniority, but Supervisor Horvath is the chair, so I will ask you first, Supervisor, what is the goal here? What are you trying to achieve?
What is doubling the size of the Board of Soups going to do for you, the person paying through the nose to live here in LA County?
The goal is to bring county government into the 21st century. These are common sense reforms, creating a directly elected county executive, expanding the Board of Supervisors from 5 to 9 seats, and implementing ethics and governance reform across the board.
So if they have a countywide elected executive, like a mayor, and the Board of Supervisors is now more of a legislative instead of being legislative and executive, doesn't that mean that when Holly Mitchell gets yelled at for not cleaning up the homeless,
Chilly Willy,
that she'll just say, don't blame me, blame the executive?
will.
I got a lot of Holly clips.
These are common sense proposals, things that have been done at all levels of government within the state of California that will be very familiar to the residents of Los Angeles County. These are proposals that have been discussed for more than 50 years, studied for more than 50 years, and now it's time to act.
Right, but specifically, this increases the size of the board, almost doubles it.
Thank you for not answering the question, Lindsday Horvath.
Right, but specifically, this increases the size of the board, almost doubles it, and also establishes a CEO for the County of LA?
A directly elected county executive, yes. So there would be one executive that is elected by the people, which we currently do not have.
Okay, I'm going to tell you what this is all really about. Because sure, it sounds great. We need to be held accountable. We need to have more people in there making these decisions. That's not what this is about. Lindsday Horvath may be the face of this, but sounds to me like she got talked into this by her counterparts, who for the most part are on their last term of serving as LA County Board of Supervisors because of term limits. And what do you know? Wouldn't it be interesting if, let's say, a Hilda Solis,
quite frankly,
a Catherine Barger,
Quite frankly,
or a Holly Mitchell, who are on their last terms, Janice Hahn as well. Well, imagine if once they're termed out of their supervisor position, A, they can go run for county executive now because now that job is open. Or, on top of all that, maybe if we've expanded all of these Board of Supervisor positions, what if that invalidates the term limits because now it's technically a different job? Could that be what's going on here? Could this be a way for the current Board of Supervisors to find ways to keep these jobs and to keep getting paid $200,000 to $300,000 a year? Maybe. I mean, maybe it wasn't the whole reason, but something tells me that's part of it.
A directly elected county executive.
Because where's Janice going to go? Janice is already termed out of the LA City Council. She going to run for mayor? She needs a new place to go. She tried Congress. She only lasted a little while.
A directly elected county executive, yes. So there would be one executive that is elected by the people, which we currently do not have. So we would separate out the executive authority from the legislative authority at the county level.
So you're getting paid and now you get none of the blame because you could say blame the mayor.
And that person would oversee all of the county of Los Angeles. The Board of Supervisors would expand from 5 seats to 9 seats. And much like the city of Los Angeles has a mayor and a city council, the county would have a directly elected executive.
Don't use the city of Los Angeles as a good example of how this is supposed to be run. We're a mess, and you should know, because we're in your county.
And a legislative body to be a check and balance on each other and to advance the goals and vision of the county of Los Angeles.
Supervisor Hahn, you've been a member of the LA City Council. You were in Congress. How does this help by essentially, a critic would say you're expanding government and expanding the bureaucracy. How does this help?
Don't make me play the Shane clip. I will. You better give me a good answer or we're going to play the Shane clip, Janice.
I think currently with 10 million residents in Los Angeles County, Each of the 5 supervisors now represents 2 million people.
So let's split up the county. Why is that never the answer? Why is it never the city of Los Angeles is too big, the county of Los Angeles is too big? We had a chance to split up the city of Los Angeles. It was before I was of voting age. But no, the city didn't do that. Instead of splitting apart the San Fernando Valley, they decided to go for this neighborhood council system, which means nothing because they have no power.
Each of the 5 supervisors now represents 2 million people. For instance, in my district, I represent 32 mayors, about 160 council members, plus the unincorporated county. So I think expanding the board does a few things. Number one, it adds more voices to the table. We'll be
more people getting paid $200,000 to $300,000 a year to ruin your lives.
We'll be able to have more diversity on the Board of Supervisors, but it also brings government closer to the people. I think people want to see their elected representatives in a smaller district, better representation, giving them more opportunity to weigh in on what matters in their life.
I have a feeling that whether she's representing 2 million people or 1 million people, Holly Mitchell isn't going to give a rat's patootie about her constituents, because we've seen how these people have governed, and it's not that they've got too many people to represent.
From
Just kicking that trash can.
Supervisor Horvath, you make $232,000 a year. Will you take a pay cut? Will you take a staff cut? I went to your website. You have 40 staff members. Would your staff be reduced, and would your pay be reduced?
Great question by the expert Conan Nolan. Because you know what? If Lindsday Horvath and Holly Mitchell got a pay cut, if they went from 300 to 150 or 120, we stopped having these massively overpaid positions which inspire uneducated people to rise up into these positions. They're no longer about public service. They're about getting rich. Oh, I'd be all about that. Yeah. How exactly do we pay for this without massively raising taxes or cutting essential services unless the supervisors themselves are going to cut their pay so we can add another 4 members to the board? If that's a part of it, and in fact, of all people, wasn't that Mike Furer's plan when he was running for mayor and got 0%? Double the size of the LA City Council, but cut everyone's pay in half. I like that part of it. Let's see what Lindsay has to say, because Lindsay's just getting a taste of that real money. She touted herself as the only member of the Board of Supervisors that was a renter. I'm a renter. I know what it's like to be you. But now she's making $225K. There is no way she is still renting.
Supervisor Horvath, you make $232,000 a year. Will you take a pay cut? Will you take a staff cut? I went to your website. You have 40 staff members. Would your staff be reduced, and would your pay be reduced?
This expansion would happen within the current budget.
Notice how she's not answering the direct question of would you take a pay cut?
This expansion would happen within the current budget. This expansion is being proposed at no additional cost to the taxpayer. I currently have a staff of 40 in my office to make sure that we are serving the diverse needs ranging from Malibu to Pacoima. And we have to make sure that we're on the ground addressing all of those concerns. And as you know...
Yeah, but if there's other supervisors, then there's less ground to cover, so you should be taking a pay cut, and you should cut your staff in half. But no, that's not what's going to happen. And you got to think about this. Okay, let's say everyone votes yes, because we're going to get some good governance. Now we have 9 supervisors who are all making between $200,000 and $300,000 a year. Each of them has 40 staffers that are making at least 6 figures. Where's that money going to come from if we're not increasing the size of the budget? Could it come from Sheriff's Department, LA County Fire, maybe the Department of Public Health? That might be a good use of that money. But if they're not going to increase the budget, this money is going to come from somewhere. There are going to have to be cuts made so we can have more elected officials not doing anything to solve the problems of Los Angeles County. Well, you've heard the pitch. I'd like to hear from you, the educated, concerned Los Angeles County voter, because this may appear on your ballot in November. Do you think expanding the LA County Board of Supervisors is going to get us better government? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Would you like more Hilda? Would you like more Holly?
Quite frankly.
Would you like more Horvath?
Quite frankly.
800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Do you think it's a good idea to expand the size of the LA County Board of Supervisors? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. The LA County Board of Supervisors wants to expand from 5 members to 9 members without taking a pay cut and without expanding the budget, which will lead to cuts in city services and county services. Do you think that's a good idea? We'll hear more of the rationale from the Board of Supes, and we'll check into Lindsday Horvath, the brainchild about this.
Quite frankly.
Her centerpiece of her district is Santa Monica, and Santa Monica is figuratively on fire. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. You can email us as well, randykabc@gmail.com. That's randykabc@gmail.com. The LA County Board of Supervisors says we're going to get better government if we expand the board from 5 seats to 9 seats and change it so there's an elected executive like a mayor running the county. Sure. Let's hear more why Lindsday Horvath and Janice Hahn think this is such a great idea.
This expansion would happen within the current budget. This expansion is being proposed at no additional cost to the taxpayer. I currently have a staff of 40 in my office to make sure that we are serving the diverse needs ranging from Malibu to Pacoima. And we have to make sure that we're on the ground addressing all of those concerns. And as you know, we've seen recently with the landslides in Topanga Canyon, which is where I am the mayor, essentially because it's...
That doesn't make you sound good. That project took forever to fix. I won't blame her too much for that. That was the rain.
Essentially because it's unincorporated area, we have to focus on those areas when issues arise that are emergencies while also making sure that we're administering the social safety net for the entire region.
Yes, but if you're doing half the job, you should get a pay cut.
So making sure that we have a little bit more help in that regard.
If you would like to cut Lindsday Horvath's pay, let me know.
So making sure that we have a little bit more help in that regard is important, and we can do that within the current budget. Look, the county has a budget of $46 billion.
You know what? I'm going to call my agent. I would like to change this show from an hour show to a half-hour show and make the same money. Everyone sound good?
And we can do that within the current budget. Look, the county has a budget of $46 billion this year. We know that this is something that can happen within our current budget, and we're prepared to do it.
So where's that money coming from? They don't want to tell you that.
But you know, what's good about this, Conan, is this is not just expanding the board, right? We're offering the voters an entire package to reform county government, which will give us reform and accountability.
That's everybody's favorite word.
Reform and accountability. We're creating an ethics commission. We're creating an elected CEO. We're creating an office of budget management. Things that we have not had before. So the voters will see this.
This is, by the way, the current members of the board, some of them who have been there for a very long time. Horvath's new, but Holly's been there for a while now. Hilda's been there for a very long time. So has Janice. So has Barger. They're pretty much telling us we can't do this job, and we're getting paid a lot.
As better government, not bigger government.
And we're also having public budget meetings where we'll have the directors of each department come and publicly present to the board, which we
all love when Barbara Ferrer presents in front of the Board of Supervisors.
We currently don't do. We're going to get rid of what has typically been called the green sheet motion and give more opportunity for stakeholders to engage with the proposals that are coming to the board. I mean, there's a lot that's in this package that really the voters are calling for, and so now is the time for us to make that change.
Sure. Meanwhile, Lindsday Horvath, who is the arbiter of good governments, happens to have a city in her district that is going down the tubes fast. That city is Santa Monica. Santa Monica has become the Los Angeles County equivalent of Oakland because there is a Santa Monica crime story in the news every single day. There is a new story of somebody being victimized. The craziest one was the homeless man trying to drown 2 women at the beach. But there's been some even nuttier ones than that, including Santa Monica naked man.
Residents of a Santa Monica apartment building say they are living in fear, terrorized by a man who walks around naked at all hours of the day and night.
This isn't San Francisco. That's only allowed there for some reason.
Fear, terrorized by a man who walks around naked at all hours of the day and night. The residents say they're worried the behavior could become even more dangerous and someone could get hurt.
KTLA's Mary.
At no point can we send the police to stop the man who's running around naked in the apartment building. I don't believe that's legal.
KTLA's Mary Beth McDade joining us live from Santa Monica, where she spoke with frightened neighbors. It's a story you'll see only on 5. MB?
Hi there, you guys. Yes, these residents don't think it's fair that they have to live in fear every day of their lives, nor do they think it's fair that their children are being subjected to his nakedness and deplorable acts.
Nakedness. Great phrase. And if naked is not the worst thing that he's doing, I think you know what he's doing. Can't really say it out loud on the air, but I think we're all pretty aware.
Doing the most with his hands.
That was a different story about a different naked guy in Studio City. Also, I believe, Lindsday Horvath.
And deplorable acts, and they're wondering what is it going to take before some sort of permanent action can be taken to protect them.
What are you doing now? I'm going inside my house and you're walking through the middle naked. Don't do that. Don't do that.
That'll learn him.
Let me in the gate. I live here.
Some Santa Monica residents say they're being terrorized at their apartment complex on 20th Street near Pico by this naked neighbor.
You know what? If Lindsday Horvath only had half the job that she has now, she could pay attention to the fact that her constituents are being terrorized by a naked man.
I'm in fear for my life.
They tell us he walks around their complex naked morning, noon, and night, violently screaming obscenities and destroying his apartment inside and out.
I do not miss living in an apartment building.
And I see things thrown out. He defecates in the parking stalls. Whatever he uses to wipe himself, he brings it throughout here.
Oh, boy. This just, just when you thought the nakedness would be the worst part of it, you forget all the things that come with being naked.
And this resident says he often screams at her and has even walked right into her home.
He's called me.
That's trespassing. Oh, yeah, not a crime under Gascon, who Lindsday Horvath endorses.
He's called me slaves, B-words, N-words. He's told me he'll kill me.
On Memorial Day, residents tell us he began touching himself inappropriately in front of a pool full of children.
How is that not a crime? How is this man still on the streets?
Memorial Day, we were all here celebrating, and it was belligerent. I mean, it was out of control.
And then last week, they say, he went after one of their daughters.
He jumped in front of her as she was trying to exit out of the building. And as she tried to go around him, he moved closer and jumped in front of her. And then that's when he told her that she doesn't belong in here and she needs to get the F out of here.
They tell us
the naked man tells the child, get out of my apartment building. What is happening?
They tell us the building's owners have done nothing. They've also called the police on several occasions. And after last week's incident, police transported him somewhere. Residents believe to receive medical treatment. However, they say he's been...
for some people, it's okay to send them to prison. It's okay. I don't think this is just undiagnosed mental illness if he's doing all these lewd things while being naked in the apartment building and threatening the neighbors. It's okay. You can send him to prison.
However, they say he's been taken away before, but then comes back and starts all over.
We're here waiting on him to come back. Can you understand the anxiety that's attached to that?
Santa Monica police say they have responded to every call and taken reports, which they've compiled and turned over to the city attorney. They say it's now up to the city attorney.
Wait, so the naked man who was doing unspeakable things in front of children playing in the pool in broad daylight, That doesn't rise to felony level to the DA?
They say it's now up to the city attorney to determine the next steps. And the building management said that they would not give us a statement and asked us to leave the property. For now, in Santa Monica, Mary Beth McDade, we'll send it back to you guys in this studio.
That is shocking, Mary Beth. Thank you.
Well, if Lindsday Horvath only had to deal with 1 million constituents instead of 2 million, she'd have time to deal with that naked man. No, she wouldn't. More insanity from Santa Monica, which Lindsday Horvath represents as a Board of Supervisor. Next here on the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. Boy, do I have a special gift for you. This station gets a lot of great tickets. This one is amazing. So get those dialing fingers ready to go. 790 KABC welcomes Kenny Chesney, the Sun Goes Down tour with Zach Brown Band, one of my favorite bands of all time. They're all going to be at the SoFi Stadium on July 20th. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com, but right now, call in number 9 at 1-888-790-5222. Gets a pair of tickets to the show. Tickets furnished by MTG. Good luck dialing. When we come back, even more failures in the city of Santa Monica. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. Here's a Santa Monica story for you. A man doing on his own time what needs to be done, trying to pick up trash in Santa Monica, gets attacked. For more, here's NBC4.
Police also investigating yet another attack on the beach in Santa Monica. A volunteer who was cleaning up trash there says a stranger all of a sudden hit him in the head with a pole, knocking him unconscious. NBC4's Macy Jenkins spoke to him tonight. She joins us live with more on his story. Macy?
Someone didn't take kindly to picking up trash in dirty Santa Monica, which is supposed to be one of the nicer parts of the county.
Hi, Colleen. Well, picking up trash here in Santa Monica is part of Josie Peters' daily routine. Now, he'd heard about recent attacks on the beach, but never thought he would be the next victim.
Another vicious attack in Santa Monica on one of LA's most iconic beaches. The target, Josie Peters.
I found them all in one day.
A man who spent nearly every day for the last 17 years collecting trash and debris on the shore out of the goodness of his own heart.
What a wonderful person. I wouldn't want to shake his hand, but wonderful guy.
Yeah, you know, we have to do what we can to make this world a better place. You know, I mean, if we don't, you know, the adults, the kids aren't going to either, you know.
But his altruistic efforts cut short as dusk rolled in on Saturday night.
This guy out of nowhere smacked me in the side of the head with this pole.
It knocked Josie unconscious, and when he woke up,
he was kind of standing over me, kind of laughing, and then he kind of, you know, just casually walked away. And so,
gee, I wonder why tourism is down in Santa Monica. I wonder why.
And so I started screaming out, somebody catch this dude, somebody get him.
Josie's attack was just hours after a fight involving roughly 20 people ended with a stabbing and 5 arrests. This just days after a man allegedly tried to choke a teenager, bit the ear of a woman trying to stop him, and dragged another woman into the ocean in an attempt to drown her.
I forgot about the ear biting part. It's just nonstop. At some point, does Phil Brock want to do anything about this? No, what they want to do is vote to condemn the Santa Monica is not safe sign. Yeah, that's what they did last week.
We need to have some sense that there is some kind of authority figure on the beach, you know.
Just what Santa Monica Mayor Phil Brock has asked the council to fund with city dollars.
Well, I hope they will go toward police. I hope they will go toward more homeless street teams. And I sincerely hope that LA County will expand our mental health coverage. I'm horrified by instances of just wanton aggression.
Josie is still recovering from a broken collarbone and broken ribs, but
holy cow, that was one heck of a pull.
But says he can't wait to get back to work at the beach.
Sunday, because you know, the day after, I was determined to go down there.
Pushing through the pain to pass along his passion for protecting the planet.
I was brought up.
That was a lot of P's. Good alliteration there, NBC4.
I was brought up in the 70s when we kind of were more passionate about the environment. You know, give a hoot, don't pollute. I was a Boy Scout. You know, if you see garbage on the beach, you try to pick it up. You don't just walk by it. And you set an example for younger people.
Yes, but instead we leave the human garbage on the streets to litter and victimize the rest of us. Lindsday Horvath, maybe you should do something about that with your $235,000 a year. Thanks all so much for listening. So happy to be back here. Well, I'm happy to be back doing the show. Not happy that I'm back in Los Angeles. I'm a little enchanted by Northern California. Get to some of that on Friday's show, but you can always download the podcast of this show, KABC.com. Click on podcast, search for the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Apple Podcasts. See you tomorrow at 5 for another News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC.